Hello there, I'm Robert McKay. The channel is at 60 subscribers, and everybody else will look at 60 and say, that's nothing. For me, it's a lot. Let me try something real quick. Well, okay. I'm just going to have to live with a slightly tilted picture, and so will you. Was it last night? I think it was last night. I was recording and the phone commenced to slip and it went down and it stopped recording, and if you've seen that, excuse me, you know what a complete and total, thoroughly amateur disaster it was. So I have a handkerchief underneath the camera, underneath the phone, but one side apparently is a little thicker than the other. I could fix it, but after that little fiddling attempt, I'm not going to worry about it. This is, after all, thoroughly amateur. This is an installment in the reconstruction of, I'll pour real quick. That's a little more than I wanted, but for this whiskey it's not a big problem. This is an installment in the reconstruction of my Whisky Basics playlist, which, if you've been watching the previous videos, you know I accidentally deleted the whole thing in one swell foop. The whiskey for this video, and these labels that they use never show up real well. This is Balcones Baby Blue. For the first time ever that I've had it, straight corn whiskey. I have a video, I've already recorded it and uploaded it, you can go back and watch, that explains what straight whiskey is. And, of course, I always have to shift if I'm going to get anything like the whole label in there. I bumped the table. I record at the kitchen table with my phone, and it is the best setup I have ever had. So that tells you something about how thoroughly amateur this is. Well, I could babble on about this and that, but I want to get to the point of the video, because this is Whisky Basics, and that is, what whiskey should you buy? What is the best whiskey? Well, first we open our cherry Coke. I should have been able to tell just by looking at the can, because it doesn't look like the orange cream Coke, which is highly delicious. What whiskey should you buy? What is the best whiskey? I'm going to begin with a couple of quotes. One is from Mike Honcho, who runs the whiskey group on MeWe. And if his last name really is Honcho, that is a cool deal. But he told me way back in 2021, when I was just starting, if you like it, it's good whiskey. And then Daniel Whittington and Rex Williams, who now for business reasons have separated their channels. Daniel has the Whiskey Vault, Rex has the Whiskey Tribe, but they used to have both channels together. And they would say the best whiskey is the whiskey you like, the way you like to drink it. And if you have been, as a newcomer to whiskey, and that's who this channel's for, You know, if you've been drinking whiskey 97 years and you like the channel, great, fine, no problem. I'm happy, believe me. But the whole point of this channel is to fill a niche that nobody else, as far as I'm aware, is filling, which is to provide information for newcomers to whiskey in one place. I couldn't find any such place. I still can't. So if you're new to whiskey and you've been kind of concerned about what the best whiskey is, what you should buy, don't be all upset. If you like it, it's good whiskey. Now, there is some whiskey that I think is objectively bad. I've had a couple of corn whiskeys that it's not just my opinion. Those things are so sour, how anyone can drink them, I don't know. But by and large, whiskey is a very subjective experience. And I'm going to try something real quick. Well, the picture's more level. I think it's still more or less slide proof, but that crooked picture was driving me bat wacky. Remember it said thoroughly amateur? Yeah, it ain't exaggerating none at all. But with that caveat in mind that some whiskey is actually bad, not much, but some, it's really a subjective thing. You know, you may like pizza. Somebody else doesn't. It doesn't mean you're right and he's wrong. It doesn't mean he's right and you're wrong. It just means tastes differ. Somebody may like a plain cheese pizza. You like it with everything you can think of thrown on there. Doesn't mean you're right and he's wrong. Doesn't mean he's right and you're wrong. It just means tastes differ. And so it is with whiskey. Balcones Baby Blue. My favorite distillery is Balcones Distilling in Waco, Texas. My favorite whiskey of all time in all the world is from Balcones. It's their pot still bourbon, which has a red label. Let me slide that over, or maybe slide the phone over a tad bit. Well, this may be the most thoroughly amateur video you've ever seen from me, except for the one I made the other night, which I'll try something else next time. But there was a guy on MeWe named Gary Johnson. In every other aspect, he was a very helpful, very gentlemanly, very good person, at least as far as I could tell. He helped me out so much. But when it came to Balcones whiskey, he was adamantly against it. When I raved about it, he got unhappy with me. Finally, he tried the pot still bourbon and insisted it was a one-note whiskey. And when I differed with him, he blocked me. And he died while I was still blocked. I would have loved to reconcile with him. Obviously, I wasn't going to give up my own personal opinion based on my own taste of the stuff. But I would have loved to reconcile with him. It hurt me that he thought it was worth blocking someone just over whiskey. Because it is subjective. So should you buy Baby Blue? Should you buy that pot still bourbon? I highly recommend them, but Balcones whiskey is unique. You'll find reviewers talking about Texas whiskey as having a specific profile. I have not found it so. Now, granted, I'm not an expert. I've had a couple of bottles of Still Austin. I've had one bottle of TX bourbon, which comes from the Firestone and Robertson distillery in Fort Worth. I've had a bottle of Longhorn corn whiskey. Can't remember who distills it. That was one of the bottles I could not drink. It was foul. It was just sour. And I've come to understand, I think, or I've come to the conclusion that when you get sourness from corn whiskey, it has to do with the youth of it. Although this is aged at least 24 months in oak. So this is only a 2-year whiskey. It's the bare minimum to be a straight whiskey. But then so many Texas distillers are trying to imitate Kentucky, which in my view is a bad idea. Kentucky ain't trying to imitate Scotland. Why should Texas imitate Kentucky? But you take all the Texas whiskey I've had, as little as it is, it all, in some degree, is an apparent imitation of Kentucky whiskey. It's trying to be like bourbon from Kentucky. Balcones isn't. It has no interest in being imitation Kentucky. And so there are a lot of people who don't like it. Now, those of us who do, we love it. But should anything from Balcones be what you buy as a newbie? Maybe not. So again, what should you buy? Well, I've already said what you like, but until you try it, you don't know what you like. It's like the old Alka-Seltzer commercial from the 70s. Try it, you'll like it. I tried it, thought I was going to die. You know, I have tried several things that I didn't like. I have a bottle sitting over in my desk right now, the Bardstown Bourbon Company straight bourbon. I've had 2 glasses from that bottle in 2 or 3 months that I've had it. Both times there has been an unpleasant earthy note, like eating dirt. Now, a little earthiness I don't mind, but when you really taste dirt, no, I don't care for that. And I'm leaving it set for another week or 2 at least, and then I'll try a 3rd glass, and if it's still there to the same degree, I'm just going to dump it. But there are other people who like that whiskey. I'm not a big Scotch guy. I'm a bourbon guy. And so because that's my favorite, that's where my focus is, and my budget won't allow me to buy largely. I have to be selective when and what I buy. And so my experience with Scotch is limited, but I love Laphroaig 10. That is a peated Scotch. There are Scotch drinkers who don't care for peated Scotch. And if you don't know what that means, don't worry about it. Not right now. As you grow in your knowledge of whiskey, you can learn that. It might be that you turn into a Scotch guy. It might be that you are specifically a peated Scotch guy. And I'm using guy in lieu of a neuter term. Guys and gals, guys and girls, whatever. It's an awkward usage. And so in English, lacking a neuter, we use the masculine in place of it. It's not elevating men, it's just a convention to make things easier. And anybody who gets upset about that might as well get upset about the fact that many languages have a masculine and a feminine. Take Spanish. El whisky, masculine. La cerveza, feminine. And if you get upset at that, you're getting upset at the way the language is. You might as well get upset at the fact that the Rocky Mountains are tall. That's just the way it is. But I digress. I digress very well. And if you watched any of my videos, or you know how well I digress. So what whiskey should you buy? What you like, but you have to try things. And in the process, especially at the beginning, you're liable to try a number of things that you don't care for. So what should you buy? Things that you like, or things that you want to try and see if you like, or things that people whose palates you trust recommend. And I didn't mention that in the first iteration of this video, the one that's lost, because at the time I was still myself fairly new to whiskey. Now I've been at it 4 years and counting. And so I know more than I did then. In a way, it's a blessing in disguise. I lost the whole flippin' playlist. A, the quality's better, and B, I know more. Which is not to say I know it all. I guarantee you I don't. I have ample reason to be humble. And if I ever forget that, my wife will make sure I remember it. I love my wife. One of the reasons is she tells me the truth. But what should you buy? Well, things you like, things you want to try, things people recommend, whose palates you trust. Now, everybody will be glad to recommend things to you. But I've found a lot of people don't seek to find out what you like and then recommend in that direction. They'll just say, well, you should try this, you should try that, you should try the other. And it might be that every single recommendation is not in accordance with your palate. The manager at the Kelly Liquor Store in the Mountain Run Shopping Center, he and I seem to have pretty much identical palates. He's made 5 recommendations now. Every single one I've loved. And when we compare our tasting notes on a particular whiskey, he and I get the same things. So if he recommends something to me, now he'll give me a sample. He's given me samples of everything he's ever recommended. But if he recommends something to me, I won't wait for the sample if he doesn't have one. I'll go get it because I trust his palate. Now, if there's somebody who you found whose palate is very different from yours, say you like floral notes and sweet notes, but this person likes the dark and the earthy notes, the dark fruits, and he recommends something to you, probably it won't suit your palate. And you might have to say, I'm grateful for your recommendation. I know that you have my best interests at heart, but my palate doesn't enjoy the same things yours does. And if he's a genuine whiskey enthusiast, he'll perfectly understand that. If he's a whiskey snob, then yeah, he'll think you're a jerk, but by doing that, he proves he's a jerk. I have a video on whiskey snobs. Go look at it if you don't know what I'm talking about. So, what should you buy? Or what's the best whiskey? If you like it, it's good whiskey. What should you buy? Stuff you like, stuff you want to try, stuff that's recommended by someone whose palate you trust. Don't just take any recommendation. Don't just go in and buy whatever you see first. Now, when you're brand new, yeah, it's all new to you. You don't know one from another. I understand that. I was there 4 years ago. But taking these two principles together should make your learning about whiskey easier. So I set that aside so I can reach the button. And I think I'm going to go just generic American. Cheers.